What's up, friends? My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti, and my piece of crap brain is being a piece of crap today. So don't expect a good stream. I'll try my best, but yeah. Shout out to FPV Space Therapy on Facebook. It's a Facebook group. If you want to learn more about mental illness, you should come on over. We would love to have you. Again, it's a Facebook group called FPV Space Therapy, and I need it more than ever right now. In the chat, Dauntless, Rick Zapata, Cody Seals, NW Thrills, Beep Tube, Bill Grimes, As a Ace Man, Beep Tube, Ken Hill, NW Thrills again, Quad Whisperer, Flying Ram, License to Drive, Metal Dirtskin, Crisp Taters, Ken Hill, Ripper FPV, Beep Tube, Frank Nicholas, Huff 19, Crisp Taters, Mustang Pilot, Chuck Toast, Claire FPV, EE Doc. EE Doc is busy practicing. He's been dethroned on Velocitron, I guess. Toti RZ, Go-Kart Mozart, Del Squatcho, Alex Dvornik is here. Alec Dvornik, I keep saying Alex, it's terrible. Alec Dvornik, huge shout out to that man. He's doing time codes for us for more and more streams. Very, very, very cool of him. Yeah, and he needs some stuff 3D printed. He's been asking over on Discord. I think some of you guys are helping him out already, but just in case he hasn't found anybody, shout out to things. Chris Mel, License to Drive, Gate Mode, Subsec, Intial. What? I'm just going to say Gate Mode. Steve K, Bone Bear, Quad Whisperer, Airbender, Bad Habit, Ripper, KV FPV, that's cool. Jason Crabtree, MCP, Steve K, Eric Farmer, Travesty. Travesty. See what you did there, Travis. Chuck Toast, FPV Junkie, Douglas Reinke, Slappy One, License to Drive, Quad Whisperer, Mustang Pilot, KV again, Free Range Chicken, Alec, and Perry Earl. What's up, everybody? Hope you guys are doing better than I am. Let's just jump in. KVFPV said, what's the Discord? It's under CiottiFPV. Best way to join the Discord is actually just to join my Patreon. When you join the Patreon for as little as 10 cents a day, $3 a month, you can do it. I know you can. It'll help me out huge, believe it or not. I know $3 doesn't sound like a lot, but when 10 of you do it or 20 of you do it, it makes a huge difference, and Patreon's kind of the only thing that's been keeping me going. Yeah, CiottiFPV.com, scroll down, it's in the description. There's a million different ways on there that you can support me. I have a Fiverr page where I want to work for you. I want to do some flight instruction with you and help you fly a little bit better. I want to talk to you about tuning. I want to talk to you about video editing if you're into that sort of thing. Yeah, let me earn the money. Etsy, there are some stickers and some hardware. And then, I don't know, bunch of affiliate links over there. Have at it. CiottiFPV.com. Thanks, guys. You're awesome. Slappy One says, sounds like you want to tell something. No, I already did. My brain is broken. Free Range Chicken says, what's up? Perry Earl says, hey. Techno FPV says, can I put Crossfire RX and GPS with compass on the 3.3 volt pad? I don't think the Crossfire is going to want 3.3 volts, is it? Will a Crossfire work on 3.3 volts? I thought it wanted 5 volts. I've always wired them up to 5 volt. Mustang Pilot, my back is good to go. Quad Whisperer says, when I saw that Insta about watching that special, I was thinking I would crash after that. I'm here for you. Wait, what? Watching that special. Oh. Thanks, Quad. Airbender says, never give up. And Quad Whisperer tagged me. Airbender tagged me. Alex. Oh, yeah. Hey, if you want to talk to me directly, you got to type Ciotti space FPV. When you do that, it's going to show up in orange. Look at what Quad Whisperer did. Why is that there? Yeah, if you type at CiottiFPV or just CiottiFPV, look, Slappy One, just type CiottiFPV. It'll show up in orange, and then I'll know that you're talking to me. The reason why we do that is because we know that the chat comes with the YouTube video. So, yeah, you guys are here with me. If you want to talk amongst yourselves, you should be talking amongst yourselves because there's some amazing people in the chat. But if you want to get me involved in the conversation, that's how you do it. Rick Zapata correctly saying everybody needs to tune into FPV Exchange on Christmas Eve. He's doing some awesome giveaways. Right there, guys. Go there. Believe me, you want to go there before Christmas. You want to go there and set up an account and import some stuff. You want to. I want to. Like, it's going to be that good. So just go do it, and you can thank me after Christmas. TechnoFPV says, yes, I have Crossfire wired to 3.3 volts on all my quads. I can configure my modes without plugging in a battery, just via USB. Very cool. I never even thought to do. I don't think about the 3.3 volt pads ever. The flight controllers that I run, the 5 volt pads do the same thing. Techno. In fairness, but that's pretty cool. I learned something today. Steve K says, ever fly the Cyclone FPV race frame? I've never flown anybody's race frame. They're giving them away, and I have one on the way. Jesus. I mean, if they're giving them away, we should all be flying them. RG13, that's a cool name. I'm looking at the GemFan 5143.3 for my JB Xylo build. Do you still recommend them? Absolutely. RG13, that is still my preferred 5-inch prop. It's the best. So the 4 5-inch props that most of us freestyle pilots really have spent our time with are, that's a weird thing to say, the HQ S3 and S4. I will call them the same thing. GemFan 51433, T-Motor 5143S, and the HQ V2S, 5x4.3 V2S. This year I spent a lot of time testing all 4 of those, and for me, the way that I fly, my whatever, the GemFan is the best mix of durability with flight feel with lightweight response. Lightweight equals response. Yeah, I don't know. They were just the best mix. Basically, the T-Motor props and the S3, S4s are a little bit too weak. And then the V2Ss, I don't know what I didn't like about the V2. The V2Ss were fine. They just didn't like... I just didn't like them as much as the GemFan 5143s. I don't know. So yeah, GemFan 5143 threes for life. Maybe not for life, but for right now, since new propellers come out seemingly every week. What else do we have here? Steve K says, no, we got that. TechnoFPV says, I can't get 5 volt pad to power from USB. How can you do that? That's baked into the flight controller. Like, either the designer of the flight controller designed it to do that, or they didn't. There's no way to like turn that on or off. When I find a flight controller that doesn't do that, I typically don't like it and never buy it again. Because yeah, it's a pain in the ass for USB to not power your receiver. So yeah. License to Drive says, do you know who Colin Furs is? Goddamn right I do. He just built a trebuchet and hammered a bunch of washing machines into the British landscaping. Mad Redundant. Oh, that's what you... yeah, his... So if you're a real fan of Colin Furs, you'll find his drone pilot / filming guy / editor. I forget his name now, but Colin Furs' buddy that does all of his filming has his own channel, and primarily he's flown Mavics and photography drones. But on the trebuchet video, he was flying FPV and not doing a terrible job of it. So that was pretty cool. That was really, really cool to see that in the trebuchet video. Everest Bencher says, what goggles do you use? Fat Shark HD 3s with a rapid fire, because I'm a broke-ass pleb. Brian Ladmiral says, I'm a loyal glide guy. I own 6, but I'm loving this moon goat. Nice, Brian. Oh, Brian, thank you for the reminder, the indirect reminder. Hey, I know somebody out there is in the process of, or will be, or has already switched over to Tracer or Ghost, and they've got a whole bunch of Crossfire Nanos sitting around. Can I buy some? All of them? I feel weird buying new Crossfire Nanos because I know that I'm going to go Ghost at some point here. So, yeah, I would love to buy some used Crossfire Nanos. That's why I haven't built my Moon Goat, because I refuse to put an RXSR in it, and I'm all out of Crossfire Nanos. So if you have like a Crossfire Nano or two sitting around that you know that you're not going to use again, let me buy it from you, please. Go-Kart Mozart says, I run V2S props because they come in purple to match my quad. Do they really? What? I've only ever seen them in blue and smoke. And if I'm totally honest, one of the reasons that I went with the Gemfan 5143 threes is that they come in purple. Don't tell anybody, though. That makes me a weirdo. TechnoFPV says, I bought once a flight controller omnibus with soft-mounted gyro 20x20 that powers the VTX from the USB. Yeah, so I hate that. What did I just built something that's doing that. I think it's this little tiny whoop that we just built with the Happy Mod. Well, no, it's the VTX is built in. I just did a build and the flight controller did that shit. I hate that. It is not good for USB to power the VTX pads, because the VTX is going to pull too hard, and then that's going to pull too hard on the USB, and then that's hard on your computer, which is a hell of a lot more expensive than your quad. Unless you're me, then your computer was worth less than your quad. Because it's just so old, but yeah. Huff19 says, is FPV Exchange like an OfferUp? How does it work? Sorta, Huff. Yeah, it's a parts exchange platform where you can go to either A, shop for the lowest prices. If you go on FPVExchange.com. So one of the things that you can do on here is just search for products. So I need Crossfire Nanos. So I can search for Crossfire Nano. I can find the Crossfire Nano, and look at this. Well, it's finding some of the people, but it is also going to find stores. There you go. There's Aloft. They sell it for $44. FPV Cycle sells them for $24.95. GetFPV sells it for $29.95. So, and then if you want to buy it, you can just click the button and you click through, and it's awesome. So yeah, it works in that respect. But what I'm really excited for is what you're seeing up top here. So like, oh, I guess those are all stores. Oh yeah, All right, so here, right? So the very last entry is from Xenakis. That's Nevin. He's probably in the chat because he comes and hangs out because he's an awesome guy. And it says used. And so right here, Nevin is selling one. He has two of them that he's selling for $35 each. So you might think like, well, what a greedy bastard. Why so much? It's probably a case where he's not a store. Well, I mean, I can tell you, Nevin is not a store. He doesn't have brand new Crossfire Nanos sitting there waiting to sell. He has them built into his rigs. But for $35, if you're on vacation in Feasterville, Trevose, PA, and you absolutely need a Crossfire Nano, you can offer to buy it from Nevin, send him a message. I'm not going to do that, but you can offer to buy it, send him a message, and maybe he'll remove it from his rig for you for $35, right? That is the thing about FPV Exchange that I absolutely love. And the way that they do that is, I'm not going to log in, but the way that they have that set up is when you go in there and you set up an account, it allows you to import your previous purchases from Race Day Quads, from GetFPV, from Pyrodrone, from all the big shops. So you can, like, with 2 clicks, import all your purchases into your profile here, and then put your address in, and you're done. You've got all your stuff in there. It doesn't, like, total the dollars up so that you see how much you've spent. Nevin's not a masochist, so he's not going to do that to us. But, yeah, all your stuff is in one place. I mean, shit, if you need to look up, like, did I ever buy T-Motor F40 Pro 2 in blue? You can go look it up really easily. Yeah, I'm blown away. I don't know how him and the team did it, but it's really, really cool. And once there's a ton of people on here with all these things in their cart, we can start trading stuff, right? We can, like, look at the location-based stuff and be like, oh my god, somebody local to me has a set of bot grinder motors that he's done with and he's selling. Well, I've got this set of 2306 Veloxes that I'm kind of done with. Maybe he'll want to trade. Boom, click message person, hey, you want to trade? Awesome. Facebook Marketplace and all the other platforms, you have to, like, type each individual, right? Like, it's you're never gonna do it. I have all kinds of stuff that I want to. I have a whole box of shit right back there that I need to put on Facebook Marketplace. It's not FPV related. It's like a fucking tachometer from my old Mustang Cobra that I had way back when. It's a couple board games. It's a gigantic eyeball. And yeah, I don't want to take the 4 hours it would take me to go into fucking Facebook Marketplace, list all that shit, and then deal with all the idiots saying, "Yeah, I'll give you $2." So yeah, do it. And yeah, there's some really cool giveaways coming up for Christmas time. There, I said it. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but I just did. So sorry, Nevin, if I wasn't supposed to. In order to get in on those giveaways, what you have to do is set up an account and import some purchases. That's the big thing that Nevin wants to try to do. He wants to get us all on there importing our stuff, because that's when FPV Exchange becomes, in my opinion, really, really powerful and really, really cool. So go do it. It'll take you 3 minutes, and maybe you'll win a session 5. Seriously. Now I've given you guys all the secrets, but hopefully you'll get excited about it, because it's really cool. And I know a lot of people hate Facebook, so it'll keep you off Facebook Marketplace. Mustang Pilot says, you ever fly 7-inch drones? If so, which models? Nope, I've never even seen a 7-inch rig. I've got that Glide there, which has 6-inch arms on it. And that is plenty. I don't need any more than 6-inch. That thing it feels like it cruises at about 100 miles an hour. It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's good to go. I don't need to. The point of going up to 6-inch was to get a little bit of efficiency back on that rig. Going beyond 6-inch, in my opinion, you only really should be doing if you need to carry something really heavy. And I go back and forth with that one. Like the heavy thing that I'm carrying on that rig is mainly the battery. I mean, the Hero 8 is kind of heavy as well, but yeah, the big thing that I'm carrying on that is the battery. But yeah, I don't necessarily want to go any bigger. Even that, like, so on the 2506, 2508, 2507 motors. Oh, fuck you, brain. Yeah, it flies like a freestyle rig. Going even bigger, it just continue, but it flies like a really big, really heavy freestyle rig. To go even bigger on the motors and the propellers and longer on the arms, that's what she said, would just continue to make it feel even lazier. And that's not, I'm not into long range stuff. 7-inch for me, 7-inch is very specifically, and bigger, is very specifically for carrying really heavy stuff. Like I'm talking about the rig is going to be over 1,000 grams all up. That's when I would personally be looking at 7-inch. Or, well, I had a second reason, but now it's gone. Moving on. I think you know what I'm getting at. Bone Bear FPV says may not have the range, but Radio Master just released some stupid cheap receivers. I heard about that. One of them is an RXSR knockoff. I'm always down for super cheap stuff to get people into the hobby as cheaply as possible. When I got into the hobby, I was unemployed, and that was one of the reasons why I picked micros, and it snowballed out of control. But yeah, I think that your first rig should really be as cheap as humanly possible, because you're probably going to lose it. To be honest, there are so many things to learn in this hobby that when you start, yeah, I don't know how I didn't lose one, really, to be honest with you guys. Pilot Extreme says, looking forward to check out the Mobulite 7. Not really. I don't get it. I don't. It's a long range tiny whoop. What are you gonna go from the fucking garage all the way to the kitchen instead of from the garage all the way to the den? Like, I just don't. I'm interested in the fact that they're lightweight, but I don't know. Prove me wrong, Happy Model. Please prove me wrong. Lightening up, I will say this, lightening up a tiny whoop by even like a gram is a big deal, because the whole thing is only 20, 30 grams. So lightweight tiny whoops are a really, really good thing. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when all the reviewers get them and put some reviews out. I'll be looking for Nick Burns' review, because he's the only reviewer that I watch. Scroll. Private, YouTube, you scumbag. Private Island says, I'll send you this Nano and you can resolder the, oh God. Keep it, Private Island. You can resolder the UFL back on and this new 0402 capacitor onto it. I just haven't needed to do it yet, and I bet you'd be better at it. The Nanos use the little UFL, and I've never been able to get those back on there. And then you're saying this new 0402 capacitor onto it. There's no way I'll be able to do it, Private Island. I'm nowhere near that good. I appreciate the offer very much, but I just won't be able to do it. I don't have any real experience soldering the components themselves to the board. Every time I've tried to do it, I've fucked it up. And yeah, I don't want to get I don't want to sign myself up for like practically guaranteed frustration. Sorry, dude. Super appreciate the offer though. Steve K says, show us what's in the box. Just a bunch of shit, man. There's a hard drive enclosure. Just a bunch of stuff. There's nothing really exciting. Huff19 says, thanks for the rundown. You're welcome. KVFPV says, any tips for flying in the cold? Canada sucks. Yeah, fly from the passenger seat of your car. Passenger seat, because there's no annoying ass steering wheel in the way. Isn't that fucking brilliant? Or back seat, sometimes back seat with the on the right side with the passenger seat pushed all the way forward. That's kind of cool because you can put your flight bag behind the driver's seat, and then you can just sit there in the back seat, and then you've got like your flight bag, so you just land by the passenger rear door, and you can get like super lazy with it. Yeah, the whole like not flying from inside the car when it's full blown cold out, I just start shaking, and then I'm all over the goddamn place, and it's like, well, why am I even flying? Like I'm not even really practicing right now. I'm just suffering. So yeah, I'm a big fan of flying from the car. Just don't go really far away because your transmitter is going to be really low, and there's going to be all kinds of metal and shit around it. Your video is probably going to be fine, although there's a metal roof right above it, so that's not great. But yeah, I always worry about flying from the car and getting fail safes because the transmitter is just so low, you know, and there's a lot of metal and plastic and shit that could. But just don't fly super far away, right? Just stay within, fly a 500-foot bubble, and you should be totally fine, especially if you're on Crossfire. Chris Pater says, does Toxic FPV sell things? Because I found him on FPV Exchange. Toxic FPV, you in here? Do you sell things? Chris Paters found you on FPV Exchange. I don't know. Chuck Toast says Leroy Jenkins. A joke from last night. Gran Turismo Sport, we were hanging out for a little bit. I think I'm going to do that again tonight. I had a really good time last night playing Gran Turismo Sport. And I'm just trying to get my fucking head right now. So after this stream, I might jump on to Gran Turismo Sport if you guys are remotely into cars and you want to do car talk. Or just if you just want to hang out. You can come in there and ask me questions and shit. I don't care. The GT Sport thing is me winding down. I would play it when I try to play it every other night. Just to get a little bit of variety in my life. For the majority of this year, I wake up, I do FPV stuff all day, and I go to sleep. I have dinner with my lovely wife and do some other stuff, simple stuff every once in a while. But yeah, it's been. I feel like I'm almost getting agoraphobic a little bit, which I'm sure that everybody can kind of understand because we've all been inside a lot this year. But yeah, I don't know. It's I like it. It's helping. License to Drive says, but lighter modulas equal longer flight times. Very true. I'm fine with the. So my main tiny whoop, the newbie drone with the 0802s and the 25,000 kV motors. That like if I'm hammering on that, that'll only get like a minute and a half. But like, I'm cool with that because I just fly it back to myself. It takes me like. I don't even bother turning my goggles off or anything. Like I can swap the batteries in like 5 seconds, right? Just unplug, pull, stuff, plug, and you're right. You know, drop it on the ground. And you're right back up in the air. Yeah, I don't. The longer flight time thing is not. It's not even on the list for me of like. Well, that's not true. I guess that's not true. With the Insta360 Go carrying. Nonsense, but the modulates are not for that. So I'm just grasping at straws for excuses. Metal Dirtskin says, I do have a Nano that is stuck in bootloader and I can't unbrick it for the life of me. Bootloader. The only thing I know how to do is just power it on and hold the button down, and that's supposed to put it into recovery mode or whatever. I've never had one brick. I mean, I guess if you guys want to see me try to unbrick a Crossfire Nano, I can. You got to tag me if you want me to do that. But I don't. I try not to sign myself up for really frustrating shit because I can't. I don't deal with frustration well at all. Riot 9 with 10 is a Australian. Is there such? Now I'm all weirded out, man. Now that I I called CA dollars Californian dollars instead of Canadian dollars. I'm all weirded out. I don't want to get it wrong. A dollars. What is it? What's an A? What's an A dollar? Is it it's Australian. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say it's 10 Australian dollars. Thank you, Riot9. He says, had to get an ambulance today. Jesus Christ. It was free, not stunning, paying it forward. Well, it's certainly not American dollars if he got a free ambulance. Who's of you U.S. people, have you who's been in an ambulance? Who knows what an ambulance costs? It's scary. I'm not going to say it out loud because it's just wrong, but somebody will type it in the chat that's been in an ambulance before. I've never actually been in an ambulance to have the first-hand experience of what it costs, but I have heard from other people what it costs, and it's ridiculous. B-Man FPV says, what's up? Xanakis FPV, there he is. What's up, Nevin? $9.99 super chat in American dollars, in Californian dollars. He says, thanks for the shout-out, man. Just saw a random surge in my users at work. Nice. What's going on? LOL. Very cool. Hey, guys, thank you. That's hysterical. Nevin's literally sitting there. He sees a surge in users. It's because I mentioned his awesome site, and it also means that you guys did what I asked or encouraged you to do, and now you're all going to benefit from that. So surge number 2 coming up. FPVExchange.com, maybe. DJ Dubs says, what motors are you running on your BQE Rip Squeak? Oh, DJ Dubs, we're going to talk all about that in a minute. Let me get caught up on chat. They're my RC Mart RCX 1306s in 4000 kV. Yeah, we're going to talk all about why those are the motors I'm going with and what's coming from BQE. There's some really cool shit, basically 12 by 12. The main reason I'm doing those motors is that the current Rip Squeak micro arms are only 9 by 9. But I talked to Bill about it, and I convinced him to do some 12 by 12 arms. But yeah, we'll talk about that while we're doing the build. BeepTube says, which motors are you using on your 6-inch glide? That's the last component I'm undecided about for my 6-inch glide build. Brother Hobby 2507. They might be 2508. I'm pretty sure they're 2507. They're the black Brother Hobby motors. They're fantastic. I can't say enough good things about them. The only thing that they can't do is handle the heavier tri-blade 6-inch props. The lighter 6-inch tri-blade props, like the folding props, it's plenty of motor for those. But once you go up to the limit for me was the T-Motor 6145. T-Motor has a 6-inch tri-blade prop, and that was the first propeller that started to get too heavy for those motors. And this is for like full tilt freestyle shit. Like that is built to chase really fast stuff, probably cars. So I can't have any of this long range bullshit where it's like bobbling around or big bounce back or any of that nonsense. It needs to fly like a full on freestyle rig, and it does. But yeah, there is a limit to how far, to how heavy you can go on the propeller with those 2508s. If you just would keep going up in motor size. I would actually recommend going wider in stator size if you wanted to be able to run the heavier weight, more durable tri-blade 6-inch props. Like for example, if you thought for whatever reason you were going to crash it a lot or something like that, although then you're increasing the weight and that brings the durability down. So there you're in the dance. But yeah, I really like those. And then on 6-inch bi-blades, they're amazing. On 5.5 inch, GemFan makes a 5552. I believe, might be 5551, but it's a 5.5 inch prop that looks like it has fucking boat oars on it. The blades are like very, very thick. It's an amazing propeller. Those work on there. Those motors are big enough for those props to really boss them around and give you a good freestyle-ish flying rig. So yeah, those are the motors that I've had really good time with. There aren't a lot of options up in that size. But the big thing is going to be that you get a motor that's at least 25 millimeters wide. 25 millimeters wide is really in my opinion, the least motor width that you want for anything bigger than a 5-inch prop, 5.5 inch, 6 inch, and so on. Okay, YouTube did the thing. Scrolling up, scroll. There it is. RG13 says Gran Turismo is great therapy. I agree. Obese Quads is here. One of my favorite YouTube names in the history of the land. Just got the stickers and the USB plugs. Thanks, bro. Hey, Obese Quads knows what's up. He went to CiottiFPV.com. He clicked the Etsy button. He found some awesome stickers that he wanted and some USB plugs. Little TPU printed purple USB plugs that will keep the shit out of your USB port. If you've ever crashed in like disgusting, horrible dirt and mud and then armed it, your propellers, if your prop's out, will have thrown a ton of shit possibly into your USB port of your flight controller, and then when you come home and plug it in, you either can't get the plug in all the way. I believe it was Licensed to Drive actually printed me a whole shitload of little super simple little TPU USB plugs, and then I put them up on the website to try to, you know, the Etsy store was my attempt to, like, if you guys want to support me but you don't just want to give me money for nothing, like, I think a lot of people understand that when you guys support me, it's for this moment right here, and it's for the 3+ years of blood, sweat, and tears that I've put into this hobby. Literal blood, literal sweat, literal tears, yeah. But for people that don't understand that, which is totally fine, or for people that just want to, you know, that need hardware, or that need USB plugs, or that want to represent me even more by putting my stickers on shit and then taking pictures and tagging me on Instagram, and then I'll tag you on Instagram. The Etsy store is there for that. Thank you, Obese Quads. Nathan Hack says, are brush tiny whoops still a thing? I'll have you know, trying to not stand up because I have pajama pants on, and if you guys found that out, it would seem very very unprofessional. I'll have you know, I have not one but two built, working, brushed tiny whoops, and I don't fly them a lot, but when I do fly them, it's great. They don't have much power. They don't have turtle mode. That's the thing that I don't... That is the only thing. Although it gets you a little bit of exercise. I know that sounds like such a fucking cop-out, but we've all been sitting at home every single day, all day this year. Not all of us, but a lot of us have really need the exercise. We'll leave it at that. But yeah, and you know, the reason that I built these is that I had the parts all just sitting around. I literally had all of the parts and pieces just sitting. So I was like, oh, a flying rig. And yeah, I don't know. It's like, there's like a weird kind of nostalgia to it. And I would like to say that it makes you like appreciate things about the new tiny whoops that we have. Maybe that's just me being a weirdo, but yeah, I think it's great. Don't spend a lot of money. One of the cool things is you can get or build a brushed tiny whoop for practically nothing. Newbie Drone has like all of their brushed tiny whoop stuff on like ultra clearance last time I looked. So you can get one up in the air really cheap, and then yeah, I don't know, could be really good to learn on, come to think of it. But I like them. I don't know, this one's on 7mm motors. They make more power than the 6mm motors. This is on these crazy unicorn fart 6mm Newbie Drone motors. They're fun. They're very, very fun. And then you crash over upside down and go, fuck. But it makes you appreciate turtle mode. There we go. Rob Axelson said, oh, you know why? The other reason I like these is I have a whole bunch of old Tiny Whoop 1S batteries that the internal resistances are too high for all these new fancy brushless Tiny Whoops, but they still work totally fine on these. So I have like 20 plus, what are they? They're RDQ 1S 300s. Yeah, I literally can't run them. They don't. When I go to take off on a brushless Tiny Whoop with them, they sag down and reset the the goddamn flight controller. But they work totally fine on these. So yeah, get some more life out of the stuff that you've spent money on. California cash only. Family Guyver says. Rob Axelson says, have you given more thought to podcasting the stream so we can listen when we can't watch? To be honest, Rob, I forgot. I've been asked that a couple times. I keep meaning to mention it to Joshua and ask him how he does it. But I just keep forgetting. One of the things that led to my demise, my mental demise tonight, was that Adobe Premiere, just for fun, has decided that when I import video now that it's going to mute. It doesn't even mute the audio. It's as if it doesn't see the audio. And it's a known issue with Premiere. It's something that I have to deal with a couple times a week. But for whatever reason this time, the 15 different fixes that are on the internet are not working. So yeah, and that shit, when technology doesn't work, I lose my fucking mind. I can't, I don't know what it is, but when something that worked 20 minutes ago just stops working for no fucking reason, like I didn't fuck it up in any way, I go mental. I just go completely insane. And all I ask is that if something's working and I don't do something to make it not work, that it continue to work. I don't feel like that's a lot to ask. I really don't. But apparently it is. Because it's like every couple days that something in my life that was working completely fine just stops working. The microphone, this camera, the laptop, the computer. I think the goat still works. Goat still works. Yeah. Kind of weird that I've chosen a hobby. I didn't choose this hobby. This hobby chose me. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a crazy person. That's the long and short of it. Like, I'm an actual crazy person. And you guys choose to watch me. Maybe to make yourselves feel less crazy. Which is fine. Whatever it takes, man. Whatever it takes. Metal Dirtskin says, my wife was in one a couple months ago looking at several grand. Not sure how much exactly yet. That's what I've heard in terms of you call an ambulance and it's multiple thousands of dollars here in the U.S. To not die. What are you going to do? Just die? They kind of got you, right? Bad Habit RC says, hey, do you have any experience about the Apex LiPo battery? I do not, Bad Habit. I just recently flew my very first Ovonic battery. That's not true. I bought, a while ago, I bought a bunch of 4S 1300 Ovonics from, well, I forget who I bought those from, and they were okay. I flew my first 6S Ovonic battery, 1000 mAh, and the first time I flew it, I was really disappointed, but it was a little bit of a colder day. The second time I flew it, I was a lot less disappointed, but it was a lot warmer out. So I don't know. Is it possible to make a battery worse in the cold. You know what I mean? Like I would think that all lipos would be just as bad in the cold as one, or maybe, oh, maybe the cold was like exacerbating the shortfalls, right, of like the batteries. Maybe like flying them in the cold that first time, that's like the ultimate test of a battery, right? And then when I flew them when it was like 10, 15 degrees warmer a couple days later, and there was less of a performance difference, you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Alec Dvornik says, I've had ambulance bills between $500 and $2,000 just for the ride. Yeah, and that Alec points out that's I don't think I made that point. It's just for the ride. Like it's for real. It's a $2,000 taxi ride. But there's people in the back that can keep you from dying. So if you're gonna die, yeah, maybe do it. If you think you might not die though, and you're like me, where $500 is an enormous amount of money, don't call for help. Just see if you can drive yourself without dying on the way. Oh God. Ed K says, you said before to get RC 1306 6000 kVs, not the 4000. Yes, correct. In terms of kV, at this point, with Betaflight's motor scaling being kind of flawless, I don't think there's a point of kV anymore. I am forever going to buy the highest kV available of a motor. Unfortunately, we still have to think about kV because there are situations where motors are not made in a high enough kV for that they should be, in my opinion. But yeah, that's I don't know. Dauntless H says, why build a 6-inch when you could build a 7-inch? 7-inch is going to be heavier, and it's going to be less durable, and it's going to be more kind of sloppy, more, more slower, like slower to respond in the air, less responsive. Yeah, I mean, if so, I tried to do this high-speed chase rig with a big fat battery. I tried to do it on 5-inch. I really wanted to get it done on 5-inch with high-pitch props, but the problem that I was running into was with efficiency. It just the amount of weight that I was trying to carry and the speed that I was trying to go made it so that it wasn't. I just couldn't get long enough run times, even as the battery size went up. There was sort of there's a point of diminishing returns that I hit. Moving up to 5.5 inch definitely helped that out. Moving up to 6-inch, to me, I think is the best sort of mix. Going all the way up to 7-inch, as we were talking about earlier, I would really only do that if I was going to increase the weight even further on that, which I'm not. It's at like 800 and change, I want to say. Which is already too fat. But I've built it as light as I possibly can. Yeah, I think if at all possible, stay 5-inch, because everything that's been done over the last 5 or 6 years has been done to make 5-inch fly properly. To move away from 5-inch is kind of crazy, but we're all nuts, so we do it anyway. And then yeah, just going up in prop size is there's some benefits, but it's not a free lunch. Ruby Tim is here. He's just driving. Don't get into an accident, because then you'll need to go on a $500 to $2,000 ambulance ride. Giorgio Mascaghi says, wow, freaky CiottiFPV. I'm using RCX 1306 4000 on my new 3.5-inch. 3.5-inch? WeMix, it's sweet. I thought I was the only one that knew about RCX. Love the 1306 6000. Giorgio, you're not the only one, but it is pretty rare. Not many people know about the magic of RCX motors. I found their 1304s 3-ish years ago, before but like 6 months before the very first quad camp. The very first quad camp, the rig that I was flying when I did the crazy shit that everybody actually noticed me for, that rig was on RCX 1304s, and that's also the rig that, well, in my edit, I quoted Drew as saying that it was one of the best flight experiences that he's ever had in FPV, flying a 2.5-inch rig on RCX 1304 5000s for us 450. So yeah, RCX is a... I wish there was a way to get their motors here in the U.S. That's like the one thing. My RC Mart, just for whatever reason, has no interest in white labeling those motors or just reselling those motors. And it's a shame because they're some of the best motors that we've got at the moment. Unfortunately, they're not going to be the best motors that we've got for much longer. You could actually argue that they're no longer the best option. They're certainly the cheapest option, though. Most RCX motors, once you remove the warranty, and the warranty is invalid as soon as you touch a soldering iron to one of the wires. So yeah, take the fucking warranty off. It's pointless. Once you've removed the warranty, the 1304s are $8 a motor, and I think the 1306s are $9 a motor, which is nuts. So yeah, RCX motors for the win. If you do a MyRC Mart order, the cheap shipping option is going to take forever to get to you. What you should do is get your buddies together, or just suck it up and pay it. They have a $25 expedited shipping that's like fucking overnight. It's crazy. It gets to you so quick from China, but it's $25. So make sure you're doing a big order or talk to a couple people. I know we were talking about doing a MyRC Mart order over on the Patreon page, which if you're interested in supporting me so that I can not die, you can go to CiottiFPV.com. And there's a link to the Patreon page there. License to drive it. You're right. It was somebody else that printed the USB plugs. Yeah, there you go. Tyler Harris says, do you have an affiliate link for RDQ? Unfortunately not, Tyler. I asked them about their affiliate program, and they told me that I had to have 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. At which point I just went, okay, goodbye. Order most of my stuff from there, but can't find your link if you have one. Yeah, sorry, Tyler. GetFPV was thrilled to work with me. And I already kind of preferred... I had already had... personally, and a couple of people that I really trust and are really good friends of mine had already had very different customer service experiences with RDQ versus GetFPV. GetFPV was basically just much easier to work with when the orders didn't go perfectly. So yeah, when GetFPV was thrilled to work with me, I was like, okay, these guys are great. I know that sometimes GetFPV doesn't have some specific thing that you're looking for. That's fine. You know what they do have is TBS products, which is kind of nice. It's super frustrating that RDQ doesn't have anything made by TBS because they decided to take a stand. I love that they took a stand against TBS, trying to throw their weight around. You could go the opposite direction and say, I wish they hadn't taken a stand because TBS at the time was trying to punish FR Sky a little bit for copying them. I'm not gonna go there. Dauntless H. Oh no, we got that. Tyler Harris says, "What up? I got some T-Motor Velox V2s for my race build because you said you liked them." Nice, Tyler. I haven't tried the V2s, but the V1s were really good. So, what could they have possibly done to the V2s to screw them up? I'm sure they're better than the V1s. The T-Motor has been around a long time. They know what's what. Remy Tim said, "Oh, wait, I got that." Tyler Harris also said, "Oh, we got that." Rob Axelson says, "You don't fly them a lot. That's why they work." That's true. That's true. Although I don't have a hard time breaking tiny whoops. Yeah, they're just so light. They just crash really well. Bad Habit RC says, do you have any experience with the Apex LiPo battery? I do not. I think we already mentioned that, though. Rob Oxison says, offer it as a Patreon benefit. Oh. That's interesting. Yeah. Oh, right. I thought we were talking about something else. Rob, you're talking about the live streams. Yes. Not live streams. Jesus. Podcasts. That's what they're called. Yes, it would 100% be a Patreon benefit. I would just, when I can figure it out, I'll do exactly what Josh, well, I guess if you're not a patron of Joshua, then you wouldn't know. But yeah, Joshua takes his live streams and makes podcasts out of them and only releases them on his Patreon page. And I've been wanting to do that, but I'm the worst. Dauntless Age says, Premiere sounds like a live animal. It was extra hungry today, so I had to feed it. Yeah, I guess. Alec Dvornik says, that's ridiculous that Adobe has a bug in Premiere that big. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good at all. And they don't seem to have any interest in fixing it. My guess would be that it's made worse by the fact that I'm using a 13-year-old computer that's on an OS from like 2010. What OS am I on? I'm on El Capitan version 10.11. That's like a 7 or 8 year old operating system, I believe. So yeah, I'm sure that doesn't make it any better, but that's no. If you're gonna make a program, if you're going to charge me $40 a month for the Creative Suite, you got to make the program work on everybody's computers. You can't hide behind, oh, well, we made it work on the newest and fastest computers, so fuck you. No. Nah, dude. No. Giorgio says, what's up? I used to use Race Day Quad / GNB batteries. Now I swapped over to Tattoo R-Line for micro under 1000 mAh. Typically, the 550 or 753S and 854S are their better batteries than the R-Line. I certainly haven't found any, Giorgio. I've kind of moved over to R-Lines. I've sort of done the exact same thing as you. And the R-Lines sag less, and they're lighter. And they're a little bit more expensive, but you get what you pay for. And I don't really blow up micro batteries all that often, so I'm willing to spend like an extra $1 or $2 extra for a lighter, less saggy battery. There are a bunch of new batteries coming out. Apex, somebody was asking a minute ago about Gold Line, which is AU line. The AU stands for gold. So we'll see what happens, but the R lines are a more that's Tattoo's premium line of battery, and it certainly seems with lipos that to some extent you get what you pay for, and these new batteries that are coming out are not like, they are targeted as being cheaper. So I'm not gonna rush into testing them because I just don't believe that they're going to be better because they don't cost the same amount as our line. I hope that they are better. I would love to have them be just as good and cheaper, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Freelojo says, I'm stealing line. I didn't choose this hobby. It chose me. For me, it literally chose me because I specifically told Brad that I didn't want to get into this hobby and that I was having a hard enough time being able to afford staying into motorsports, and the son of a bitch sent me a quad. It wasn't an FPV quad. It was a Horizon Hobby line of sight, whatever. But it was a 4-rotor, and it did break my brain with the stables. The thing that really hooked me is, so before that, like way long ago, I bought, as we probably all have, the stupid ass little infrared indoor collective pitch, but they're counter rotating, like the $20 fucking I was sad, and I tried to buy something to make myself feel better. Helicopters from the kiosk at the mall or Sharper Image or wherever. So I'd had a couple of them way long ago that I actually I put a little bit of time into those, and I got good enough to actually like fly the whole thing. So the battery was built into those. So when you were done flying it, you'd have to plug it into the transmitter to recharge it. But I was eventually able to fly it around the living room in small apartments, which are all I've ever lived in. And yeah, it was. I got like a little bit not good at it, but I got competent enough to do that. And then yeah, when Brad sent me this rig with the 4 propellers, and I saw that it would just like whap and just sit there, I was like, oh, well, that's incredibly impressive. And yeah, that was the hobby choosing me. Dauntless H says Steel's heated lipo bag just isn't just a gimmick. Yeah, very true, very true. That that heated lipo bag, it freaks me out because I'm afraid that the heating element is going to stick wide open and all the batteries are going to explode. I'll bet that they tested that, and I'll bet that it's completely fine. But I don't know. It just weirds me out a little bit. But yeah, it's a big deal. When I'm flying in the cold, I make sure that I keep my bag. So like, basically, when I'm in here in the house, the air in my bag and with the batteries is 70 degrees, right? I close that bag with the batteries in it. I put it in the car and I crank the heat in the car. Whenever I'm flying to a spot in the cold, I just run the heat in the car at full beams the whole time. So that A, I have like a spot that's hot, but B, it keeps the bag and the batteries warm. And then I just leave the batteries and the battery bag inside the car so that they're constantly getting not 20-degree air on them, right? So that when they go on, the same exact theory as the heated lipo bag. Brian Ladmore says, try an ambulance ride. Try a helicopter ambulance ride, $100,000. That's one of the more scary things about car accidents. Like, one of the things that was always in the back of my mind, railing the Appalachian Mountains, US 421 the Snake, Tail of the Dragon, all those incredibly fun roads, is that they're far enough away from ambulances or from hospitals that like for an ambulance to get there, it would take a half an hour or like an hour in some cases. Being in the mountains, there's typically not much of a chance to get a helicopter in, but it's a thing. Like motorsports, helicopter ambulance rides are a thing in motorsports because you'll be, yeah, if it goes wrong, it can go really wrong. Fire is a bad thing, and cars carry fuel around. Yeah, that's one of the things that was always sort of in the back of my mind is like, don't need a helicopter ambulance ride. I knew they were expensive, but wow. 90,000 of that is probably just the fuel. Helicopters are incredibly inefficient. The best, my fucking favorite, you guys are going to love this. My favorite description of helicopters is that they beat the laws of physics into submission. I forget who said that to me, but like, I remember they said it, and I thought for a second, I was like, God damn it, that's so, like, that's just perfect, right? And like, as evidenced by the fact that if they turn their engine off, they just fall to the ground and explode. But yeah, helicopters beat the laws of physics into submission. That's literally how they fly. They don't cooperate at all with the air. Airplanes cooperate with the air. You know, they have a nice wing. They can shut their motors off and glide, right? There's all these like nice things. And then a helicopter is like, yeah. Air? Oh, hi, air. Oh, some more air over there. JFPV is here. Hope you guys like that. Geo Fairbanks says, is using foam tape to stick a Unify Pro 32 Nano. to the back of my camera, a bad idea. I'm worried about heat, but don't know where else to put it on my toothpick. Geo, I think you're going to be totally fine. Up on top of a toothpick, there is going to be like limitless airflow. And yes, the airflow is only going to be on one side of the VTX. I'm assuming that's where your head's at. But I think you're going to be completely fine. Where these nano VTXs overheat and cook is when you don't have an antenna plugged in, because they use the antenna as a heat sink, believe it or not. And when there's no airflow. If there's no airflow at all and you have it up on full power and you let it sit there for a minute or two, that's when it's going to go. So be careful with those two things, right? Like, if you're going to do that, your head's in the right place. You're already in this like worrying place, and that's good. That's going to keep you sort of like vigilant. Stop it, buddy. So yeah, keep that in mind. See how low of a power that you can run it on, right? Like, see if you can live with it on 25 milliwatts or 100 milliwatts. That's going to help out a lot. I forget what or maybe it's 50 that the Pro. I forget what their power ratings are, but yeah, try not to just crank it all the way up. If you can not crank it all the way up to 400, it's going to make it a lot better, a lot more. Jesus, it's going to make it a lot more better. Chris Potatoes says, I live with a main hobby near me, and they are expensive as hell. That's crazy. It is cool to be able to walk in there, though. That must be pretty dope. Blizzard says, we love you. Thank you, brother. Squint says, ice cream and Ciotti Mondays just got better. What's up, Adam? Adam, do me a favor. Next time there's a drift event, tell me. I was dying to do another drift event this year. And for whatever reason, I had no idea that there was a drift event on Sunday. I know I don't really fly anymore, but yeah, I was so fucking... I literally found out about it by seeing your Instagram Live, and I was just like gutted. Frank Nicholas says, at $40 per month for Adobe, you should move to Final Cut Pro, one-time purchase. If you've ever used Final Cut Pro, though, you'll know why I'm on Adobe. It's not good. I used Final Cut Pro for a long time, and it just doesn't work right. Maybe maybe it doesn't like this computer, whatever. But Final Cut Pro was a nightmare. I tried it. It was a total nightmare. Ken Hill says Airhawks. Yeah, right. I didn't actually buy the Airhawks. I bought like the Cyma and the knockoff ones because I'm a knockoff kind of guy. License to Drive says, I have Crossfire VTX interference weirdness. I turned off telemetry on Crossfire Nano RX, but when I unplug XT30, the transmitter says telemetry lost, and there's still lines on the... Whoa. Crossfire okay. Turn off telemetry. I've never noticed the Crossfire interference thing. I've always had telemetry on. I don't know. Apparently, the easiest way to deal with it is just to create some distance between the Crossfire antenna and the VTX antenna. The way I typically do that is the same way that I did it here on... that's been done. Actually, Super Lux did this. Putting the VTX antenna like sort of somewhat on the top plate-ish and get it up at a 45-degree angle, and then just try to get the Crossfire antenna down on the, down low and as far back as possible. Depending on the frame, you might not be able to do that, but yeah, I've not had to deal with it, so I can't, unfortunately, really troubleshoot it. Sorry. But I know that I know Joshua, I think Joshua's done a video on it. I forget. Bone Bear FPV says, for the cold, I know some guys just keep a warm bottle of water in a cooler with their batteries. That's a fucking great idea. Water holds its temperature really well. That's a really good idea, Bone Bear. Shit, you got smart friends. Am I caught? Nope, I'm not caught up. I'm almost caught up. TweetFPV is here. What's up, Tweet? How are you? Dauntless H says, what's your favorite Amazon VHB? There's so many options, and some can rip surface mount components off RXs and stuff. Well, so that's all VHB. All VHB has the potential to rip surface mount components off. That's kind of always been. That's one of the big reasons that I always shrink wrap my electronics, so that I don't like putting VHB directly onto PCBs. It rips components off and ruins them. So yeah, it's and I don't know. I've only bought VHB from Amazon once, and I just kind of I tried to like read the descriptions and be like, all right, let's figure this out. Which VHB is the right VHB? And I just it didn't work, and I just gave up. Chuck Toast says, have you ever heard of Grayson Hobby? Chuck Toast. Let me give you something. Let me give you something here. Oh, it doesn't do it. Oh, wait, hold on. What if I do this? What if I do an incognito window? Grayson Hobby is where I had my bachelor party. My bachelor party was Quad Camp. Oh, man, it doesn't give it to me. If you go to my channel when I'm not streaming, my YouTube channel homepage automatically plays my edit from Quad Camp Atlanta, which was at Grayson Hobby. Yeah, they're like 45 minutes for me, and a couple of really cool guys. I did they invited me out to do a Beta 95X V2 review video a couple months ago, and I thought it went really well. I haven't heard from him since, so I guess it didn't go all that well. But yeah, Will and Basil are awesome guys, and Grayson Hobby is a great shop. They have they sell Foxeer toothless nanos for cheaper than anybody. What do you think of that? Frank Nicholas says, antennas are not used as a heat sink. They provide a load to the radio amplifier so it doesn't use/draw too much current. Fair enough. I always wondered how the hell they would work as a heat sink. As a heat sink. But apparently that's not what they do. Thanks, Frank. Good call. Crunked, totally right. Low power disarm is the answer. Only go to full power when you're armed. In my opinion, Crunked is half right. I don't like low power disarm, mainly because if you're a little bit farther away from yourself, or if you crash in a spot. Okay, with low power disarm, you fly, you crash, you disarm, your video goes completely away. In order to get your video back to see what the hell's happening, you have to rearm. If your rig is upside down in the grass or some shit like that, and you rearm, it's going to put a lot of load on the ESC because the motors are going to be trying to spin. So I'm not a fan of low power disarm. What I am a fan of is low power disarm before initial arm, I think it's called. In the VTX tables tab, there's three options. There's like off, there's low power disarm, and then there's low power until first arm. I think that's what it's called. That is the one that I like, because then when you plug your battery in, it's going to sit there at like 5 milliwatts or 25 milliwatts. And if you're fucking around and you forget that it's plugged in, you're covered. But then when you arm it, it goes up to full power. And in that scenario that you crash really far away and it's upside down, you don't lose your video when you disarm. Also, like if you're flying and for whatever reason you have to disarm, losing the video is like not. It just takes away your ability to as you get better and better as a pilot, you'll get the ability to rearm. This whole like never disarm thing, I disagree. I think you should disarm, but then you should rearm. I think 99% of the time when we hit something, it's kind of best to disarm to let shit chill out. Not always, but I feel like more often than not, it's a good idea to disarm initially. You're still going to have video, and then you're going to see when you're sort of out of the scraggle or just in a better situation to rearm and try to catch it. If you just leave it armed, every single time you bump into something, especially if you're using thrust linear, it puts a huge spike into the gyro, and then like all 4 motors will go really hard. So if you're just armed bouncing through scraggle with thrust linear, it's going to be murder on your ESC. And yeah, it's just a hot mess. So I prefer in that scenario to disarm, let it bounce off all the scraggle, and then once it gets out of the tree canopy, rearm it, get your orientation back, and try to fly home. It took me a long time to train for my brain to work fast enough to be able to do that, right? For a long time, I always wondered if it was possible. But like my brain would think of it when I was already on the ground for like a full second. But yeah, eventually as I flew more and more and more and more and got better and got more comfortable and less nervous, I'm now, for whatever reason, just able to like, basically when I disarm, I'm like waiting to rearm. I'm just like, here we go, come on, ah! And then I'll, most often I'll be able to rearm, and then the trick is finding level. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. NW Thrills says Ciotti is the Stig. Oh my god. Oh no. Nobody's supposed to know. Frank, wait, no, we got that. Squint said, you didn't miss a whole lot, so don't fret it. Frank Nicholas says, I have to do, I have and do use Final Cut Pro. Really, Frank? You don't hate it? Man, I had such a bad experience with Final Cut Pro. Oh my god. I had such... I was like, I went back to iMovie. Like, that's how bad of an experience I had with Final Cut Pro. Is I was like, dude, I can't do on this what I do on iMovie. And I went back to iMovie for another couple years. And then I went to Premiere, and I've... Other than this one issue, I've been pretty happy with Premiere. Premiere reminds me of, like, Betaflight in that it's kind of the standard, and there's the most amount of creative stuff and how-tos and content and all kinds of really good shit. Yeah. So I'm kind of stuck with Premiere. You know what I would like to do if I had the if I were a better person, I would learn DaVinci Resolve because it's free and it has a huge audience. But learning new software is very difficult for me. It really makes me miserable. And so I try not to do it. SquidFPV says, I mainly went to get some raw footage to run through Real Steady. I finally bit the bullet and got it for drift edits. Nice, Adam. I've been playing around with it myself on some of the more commercial shit that I've flown lately, and it's so good. It's scary. Dauntless says, I flew the shit out of those assignments from age 6 to 11. License to Drive says, these are my tiny trainer builds. The bottom one has image issues. Yeah, License to Drive has done some really cool tiny trainer prints. I'm getting a server error on that link. License. Oh wait, no, I gotta copy the link address. Yeah, check out License to Drive's tiny trainers. They're super cool looking. And what did you made this rear TPU piece from scratch, License, right? And then I think you might have made the battery sack as well. But I mean, to make a battery sack, you just take their existing design and either scale it up or down. But yeah, super cool. License to Drive's tiny trainers look awesome. I've seen a couple pictures of them on the Discord channel, which you can get onto by joining my Patreon for as little as $3 a month, which works out to 10 pennies per day. Skip next time, whatever you buy every day, next time you go through the checkout line, tell them, I'm not going to pay you any tax today because I'm going to give that money to CiottiFPV. Maybe it'll work. Won't work. TweetFPV says, have you gone the naked GoPro route yet? I have not, Dan. I really want to. Like, I really, really, really want to. Right now, it's unfortunately a little bit of a financial thing. But yeah, I really, really, really want to get into the naked GoPro scene. I have a couple of these smaller rigs that I'm pretty sure will carry them really nice, and I even have like all the TPU and shit. I just need to find the whatever. Rob Oxison says alcohol will help release the adhesive in VHB and it won't hurt the electronics. No shit. I never even remotely considered that. Alcohol, if you guys don't know, is also wonderful for cleaning your rigs. When you go and wreck your rig and it gets all dirty and shit, take alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and use that to just... What I do is I'll put it in a little water bottle and I'll just hose the whole rig down, and then I'll just go in with a toothbrush and a microfiber, and you can get a rig really clean, and then the alcohol just evaporates. It's like magic. Rob Axelson schooling us all and telling us that it'll also help release the VHB adhesive. That's amazing. And then Chuck Toast calling out Kapton tape. Yeah, Kapton tape is really good as well. I don't have any. I prefer to use shrink wrap instead of Kapton tape, but they kind of do the same thing. Kapton tape is a little bit better, I guess, because it's non-conductive, although shrink wrap is also non-conductive. Why would you use Kapton tape instead of shrink wrap? I guess because it's tape, and shrink wrap is shrink wrap. B-Man says, bachelor party is a quad camp, huh? You party animal. Yeah, I know, right? Bunch of nerds flying fucking tiny whoops around an Airbnb and then going to quad camp. Real party animals we are. Crunk says there is an option to only be low power until the first arm. Yep, we talked about that. Jason Crabtree says, look up reusable heat packs. They work great, keep batteries warm. You just boil them to recharge. No shit. Huh. I thought you were, Jason, I thought you were talking about the little packs that the single-use packs, which I try not to use because they're wasteful. But reusable heat pads, they work great, keep batteries warm. Just boil them. Why you boil them? We've got a thing that we microwave. We've got it's like a long tube with these like beans in it, and we microwave it, and it's like a heating. It holds the heat, and then you put it. I was putting that on my back a couple weeks ago, 18 times a day. Oh man, you guys are asking good questions faster than I can answer them. Frank Nicholas says DaVinci Resolve, the full product, is not free. Oh, I did not know that. Leadfinger says Final Cut X was trash. That's what I was using. Final Cut X was trash though. So sad they ruined it. Yeah, see, that was what really pissed me off, is that like I had always been using I've been using iMovie for about 20 years. Ever since college, actually. But when I was at university as a TV radio major, our senior practicum was just a big video editing project. At the time, late 90s, that was like revolutionary. The rest of the class learned Premiere in the computer labs. I had, because I was a fancy boy at the time, an iMac with iMovie, and I actually did my entire senior practicum on iMovie, and nobody knew. This was back in the days of like Premiere 1.0 or whatever, and it was horrible. Premiere was so bad. Like my whole class was just like hating life in the computer labs trying to get Premiere to work, and then Final Cut Pro became available, and I was always like, all right, when I outgrow iMovie, I'll go to Final Cut Pro. That's back when Final Cut Pro was amazing. It took like 15 years, but eventually I outgrew iMovie. I actually, believe it or not, the quad camp video is when I outgrew iMovie. If you go back and watch that quad camp video, there's a ton of subtitles that I typed in one by one by one by one. And I put so many of those subtitles in that iMovie started to crash. I would launch iMovie, I would try to add another subtitle, and it would bomb the program. I'd apparently reached like the limit, either the RAM limit or maybe there was like a hard limit on subtitles, not subtitles, but text titles that you can put in there. And apparently I found that limit, and I literally had to go back in the edit and remove, because I wasn't done, I wasn't to the end. I had to go remove like the less important text from it to free that up for the end of the video, and then I just limped iMovie home. But that was it. That was when I decided to change, and I tried Final Cut X, and it was horrible. It was absolutely awful. And then I tried Premiere, and it was like light years better, and I have not. I've been on Premiere ever since. Interesting to know, though, that DaVinci Resolve full product is not free. I had no idea. Private Island FPV says, my favorite VTXs have a 0.5 power option. It's great to have it at 0.5 on the bench automatically until first arm without having to use pit mode ever. That's pretty cool, Private. I've seen that really low power option. I've always just like assumed that it's the same thing as pit mode, but it sounds like it's not the same thing as pit mode. I think pit mode is like 0.1. What I don't like about pit mode is you have to like fucking you have to like take the fucking quad and like put it inside the goggles to get any video out of pit mode. I'm assuming 0.5 is not like that, and you don't have to be as annoying. Leadfingers says, can you do that with the Crossfire VTX control? I don't know what we were talking about at the time, Leadfingers. Tag me again and give me the whole, like, what are we talking about? And yeah, ask the question as if I don't know what we're talking about. Ask the question as if I'm a 3-year-old, because I am. Jason Crabtree says, oh, we got that. Frank says, you have to learn and understand the workflow. Once you do, it will work and you will like it. All right. I guess I'm trying Final Cut Pro X. And then he said, oh, wait, we got that. TweetFPV says, FPV Secret Santa. Hey. Yes. Thanks for the reminder, Dan. Speedy FPV. It's right. Is it on Speedy FPV? Hey, Dan, do me a favor. Drop all the particulars in the chat. I think it's Speedy is doing FPV Secret Santa over on his Discord channel. If you want to get in on it, you gotta hurry. So as soon as TweetFPV drops the details here, hopefully in the chat, hopefully he's still watching, hurry, because it's not like come one, come all. It's come a bunch of people until it hits a certain number, and then it's closed. Tweet says, my naked GoPro Hero 6 died already, like 3 flights, no crashes. Oh. See, and that right there is why I haven't done it yet. I feel like 50% of the feedback that I hear about of the naked GoPros is that, and I can't afford that. I can't drop $200 or $250 or whatever a Hero 6 or a Hero 8 costs used, put in, I don't know, 2-3 hours of work tearing it down, and then have it blow up. Like, I keep reading about the Beta FPV PCB. The Beta FPV has a naked GoPro PCB that you can use, but apparently the BEC that they use like spikes the GoPro and blows the fucking like. Every time I'm like, all right, I got to do this. Let me do some research. I'm gonna look into Naked Hero 6s. It's going to be great. I'm sure that by now they've got this all figured out. This happened like as recently as like 2-3 weeks ago. I go in and I start reading. Nope. I start reading and it's just like, yep, mine blew up. Yep, mine blew up too. Yep, the fucking the beta FPV board blew mine up. Yep, this blew my. I can't do it. I can't do it. I want to. What I really want is somebody to build one, and then I just buy it, so that if it blows up after 3 flights, I can go back to that company and say, hey, send me a new one. Dingles says, have you ever heard of CRC electronic cleaner? I have. That's what I used. That's what I used to clean the mass airflow meter on all my cars. I've had a big ass can of CRC electric cleaner in my car shit box for forever. I never even thought to use it for this stuff. I don't really know how I would want to use it for this stuff. The problem with that electronic cleaner is it's not. I don't think it's great on rubber. I don't think you want to get it on rubber. So it would make me very suspect of getting it onto like TPU, or like the rubber grommets that we have on our flight controllers. Dingles, what are you thinking of using that electronic cleaner for? License to Drive says yes. None of the Tiny Trainer 2PU prints are stock. Modified the battery, camera, and arm guard pieces, and designed the XT30 socket holder with Mini Mortal T holder from scratch. They look really good, License. If you guys are interested, hit License to Drive up. He'll probably I don't know. RiseX RCFPV says Kapton tape doesn't need a heat gun. There it is. But in fairness, neither does shrink wrap. A little tiny torch. Tiny torches. Fuck a heat gun. Those that have been around for a while know that for no real reason, I am anti heat gun and pro lighters and tiny torches when it comes to shrink wrap. At this point, it's just become like a funny thing. But in the real reason is that I just try to keep things in my life as scaled down and minimalist as possible. I really try to do that here with my toolbox and my just tools in general. And the heat gun is big. You have to plug it in, and it doesn't have a ton of different uses. I just prefer a little torch. Freeloader says, be careful with the atomization of rubbing alcohol. Really? What happens? Is it, I mean, sounds like it's not good for you, but... Oh my god. Okay. I'm going to give half answers to get caught up. Oh my god, it's 11:30 already and we haven't touched the build. Oh my god. What is the matter with me? Fast as I can. Carbon Cage says, what's up? Nearly missed your stream. We're here now. Hope you're well, my friend. Hey, Carbon Cage, somebody in Joshua Bardwell's stream, I'm doing a great job of zipping through the comments already. Somebody in Joshua Bardwell's stream said that when they jump into streams late like this, they'll go back to the beginning of the stream and play it at like 1.5 speed or 2 times speed, and then they'll get caught up. I thought that was kind of cool. I never thought to do that. I can't possibly imagine how ridiculous my voice will sound. Well, yes, I can. Let's see.
So yeah, it's a big consideration. Every stupid little thing you can save weight on with a micro, you really need to.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
Oh.
No big deal.
And everything.
But here we go.
Off of them. It's a little scary that I don't have an affordable way to go back onto them, but yeah, it's. I was on them for over 3 years straight, and when it's been that long, you lose.
I don't like that. I don't like that. That's not something that I'm into. Moving on. Leadfinger says, I've seen those heat packs. They are wild. Chris Pater says, what would happen if you microwaved carbon fiber? Well, it's conductive, so I think it would shoot sparks, maybe? I'm not going to try it. Frank Nicholas says, Final Cut Z is not trash. Got to learn to use it. It's different, but not trash. Airbender FPV says, I've been flying for my car every winter for 3 years now, and I have never, under any circumstance... That's the end of his comment. Airbender, what the fuck with the cliffhanger? We want to know where you were going with that. Airbender also says Kapton tape is high heat resistant. Oh, okay, fair enough. Leadfinger says the pit mode till first arm setup on Crossfire VTX control. Oh, I think you're explaining what we talked about previously. Oh man, I'm not gonna be able to find it though. Leadfingers. That probably makes sense to other people though that are just listening and not reading every single comment. B-Man FPV says, what's your favorite brand 1S battery? Newbie Drone Gold. Nothing can touch them. I'm hoping that the MyLipo 333s maybe will hold a candle, but I really doubt it. The Newbie Drone Golds they're expensive as hell, but you get what you pay for. BeepTube, look up, Joshua did a video about the Newbie Drone Golds, and they just mangled the other batteries that he tested them against. BeepTube says, does the SharkBite VTX have enough clearance in the rear of the glide frame? It does. That's what I'll be using in mine, but it hasn't come in yet. Have you test fitted it? I've test fitted it, BeepTube. I can't do anything with it, though, because the cable that they give you is unbelievably short. And the longer cable has been sold out, has been out of stock for months. So, yeah. I really want to try it. I really, really, really want to try SharkBite. It's so cool that FPV Exchange sent over a SharkBite for me to test. And I feel like such a shitbag that I haven't been able to test it. But I don't know what to do. They give you this camera cable that's like 12 centimeters long and doesn't reach anywhere. I don't understand. TweetFPV says, yes, the beta BEC is super suspect. Frank says, try a GoPro without a battery and a door using balanced to USB-C cable for power, reduce weight, but not casing / durability. The big, I was all about doing that until I realized that when you do it, the, well, I mean, first of all, the battery door is wide open. So, like, shit's going to be flying in there. There's going to be bats flying in there, making nests. But also the micro SD card is just all up in there, just flapping in the breeze. So with how I fly, I didn't think it was a great idea. But if you don't fly like a complete moron, I think it's a great idea. You can even get there's Flywoo, I believe, makes a little balance lead BEC with a wire on it that goes to USB-C. So you can just hook it up to your 6S flight battery, and then run that to the USB-C and save the weight of the GoPro battery. I love that idea. I just, yeah. Ken Hill says, I've been just using hand wipes to clean shit. I mean, the hand wipes have alcohol on them, I believe. So, yeah, it's kind of doing the same thing. That works. Dingles says, to clean off flux from soldering instead of alcohol. What were we talking about? I'm not gonna be able to find it. Yes. I trust you, Dingles, that you're right. I don't know. The electronics cleaner. Yeah. Yeah, I worry. I just worry about the implications on what that electronic cleaner is going to do to rubber. If it's safe on rubber, though, it should absolutely be fine. Brian Ledmerall says Kapton tape is easily undone, and it's lighter. I've knocked off caps on Crossfire, cutting off shrink wrap. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I've never ruined anything cutting off shrink wrap, but I've had situations where I've been like, ooh. Yeah, interesting. I I gotta get some Kapton cape. Nukem720 says, for the naked GoPro, just buy it new at Best Buy and get the replacement plan. Then if something happens when it's naked, just throw it together and get a new one. They make enough money on us. Yeah, the problem with doing that is now instead of a $200 outlay, it's like a $400 outlay or whatever the hell an 8 costs nowadays. In the long run, it's probably a better deal because you're covered for $40 or whatever the hell the protection plan is every time. So yeah, that's probably a better idea. I don't have it's not gonna work for me. But if you have the money, Hero 8 naked with 8. Frank Miller says with 8 and 9 you can get battery doors with USB-C opening for power only. No shit. I saw that for a 7. I didn't see it on an 8 and a 9. That fixes that problem. That's pretty dope. I gotta look that up. BeepTube says you can pre-order the 12 centimeter shark bite cable from Pyrodrone. I ordered 2. At least maybe you'll get it as soon as possible. So BeepTube, you did the same thing that I did, and you ordered the one that's the exact same length as the one that it comes with. Oh wait, no. That one's 8 centimeters. No, the 12 centimeter is the correct one. But yeah, Pyrodrone just has it as a pre-order, as does GetFPV. Yeah. I ordered another. I thought 8 centimeters sounded long enough, but it wasn't. So now I have 2 of the cables that are too short. Yeah, I have out of stock email alarms on GetFPV and Pyrodrone for the 12 centimeter cable. So yeah, the second that I get one of those emails, I'm gonna get a few of them. Frank Nicholas with the very last comment of me getting caught up. Whoa, look at that. Oh yeah. Santa, can you get me this, please? Where's North? You out there? I'm going to leave that tab open. Good looking out, Frank. Okay. Fruit Squeak build. I was sure that we'd be able to get this done. I got into the chat early, but it just wasn't meant to be, and that's okay. I'm here for you guys, and your questions have always been, and I hope, will always be the big thing that we do on Sundays and Mondays. And then, yeah, you guys know how to build, man. You guys are better at building than I am. Ooh, let me move the microphone. BeepTube with a $5 super chat. He wants me to get health insurance and not die. Thank you, BeepTube. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was just about to shill, but I've shilled a couple times, and I want to make sure that I don't shill too much and have you guys get pissed off and leave. It's a delicate balance. I need to shill if I'm gonna keep doing this, but at the same time, I know that you guys don't want to hear it. I know. I'm not stupid. Okay, so we've got a SpeedX IS35 because I want to be able to spin these things up on 5S. This is a 2S to 5S ESC. It is BL Heli S, but that's okay. We've got a base plate, and one of the things that I want to check on this base plate is that I can use M2 stack mounting hardware. Let's take a quick look. Oh yeah, BQE's got your back. They know what's up. Terrific. All right, so M2 stack mount hardware is a go. let's just start speccing this thing out, man. Let's see where we're gonna put. Well, all right. So first and foremost, is this the same on one side as it is on the other? It is not. It is different on this side. So I think they want us to put the camera on this side. This little slot is ever so slightly different. So what do we got here? Let me zoom you guys in a little bit so you can see a little bit better. Oh, it's iFlight. It's not Flywoo. It's iFlight that makes that little bounce lead. Thanks, Frank, for the for dropping that link. And then Chris Potato says you should cut 1 in half since you have 2 of the 8-centimeter cables. You could chop it in half and then solder the. Oh God, no way, Chris Potatoes. Look at this shit. Here, you'll understand why I say no way when I show you this shit. It's one of these goddamn cables. I can't possibly imagine a world where I would be able to properly solder to those ridiculous little wires. Dauntless says it's fiber optic. Is it really? Is it fiber optic? Are those fiber op lines? I never even thought of that. I never even thought about that. Jesus, yeah, that's crazy. Oh, that's cool. Oh, look at that. So, Bill from BQE did something cool here. You can wow, there's a whole bunch of different spots that you can mount to. Look at that. That's pretty slick. So if you're 20 by 20, you can mount it here, or you can mount it dead center. And I think I'm gonna go dead center. I meant to give you guys a little scroll of zoom. Frank says camera cable is not fiber optic. Yeah, I didn't think so. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna mount this guy dead center. Taking a look here, I'm not gonna mount it upside down. I don't think. I'm probably just gonna mount it upright like this. So the thing on the bottom that I'm gonna have to give space for is gonna be this plug header. And just kind of taking a quick look at it, it's looking like I'm gonna need at least 2 millimeters, probably 3 millimeters of spacer on this guy. So let's get that going. So one of the things that I'll do is just kind of grab a few of the spacers that I've got and just kind of half-ass it, like put this, hold this up and see how tall it makes the stack sit. I mean, you could just literally like hold it up like that and then just look at it sideways. So I know that spacer is way too long, way longer than it needs to be at least. So let's try one of these little, I think these little guys are only 2 millimeters, so they're probably not going to be quite enough, but you never know. Yeah, I mean it's kind of like it might work, but I would really rather have 3 millimeters of clearance, and I believe that's what these brass bastards are. Yes, they are. Okay, so these are what I want to use. These little brass guys. I don't remember where I got these from, but they are the only 3 millimeter spacers that I've ever been able to find. 3 millimeter M2 spacers, I should specify, that I've been able to find. So next we need the actual stack screws that we're going to use, and this is where I'm going to kind of take a guess. This build is going to have 20 by 20 ESC Talon F7, I believe, flight controller, as well as a RunCam hybrid board. And I think the last time I did this build, so this is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and then 17, 18, 19, 20. Is this a 20 millimeter? No, that's a 25. 25 is a little too much. I think I can get away with a 20. Let's see if I can find one here. Hey, that's a 22. 22 is... I'm going to use these 22s because I know with this RunCam hybrid camera that I need to put this thing on 28 millimeter standoffs. So running these 22s should be good. My stack screws are old enough to drink. Are you? That's a gag from Robin Big, actually. Rest in peace, Big Black. Big Black used to say that his biceps are 22, surely not 22 inches, 22 centimeters. No, it's got to be 22 inches around. He used to run a tape measure around his gigantic biceps, and he would call his biceps 22s. He would say, "My biceps are old enough to drink." If you didn't watch Robin Big in like the late 90s / 2000s, you are missing out, man. Those two, talk about the fucking odd couple. Those two were hysterical, man. Yeah, Kristen and I actually have the first 3 seasons, the box sets of the first 3 seasons, and it's funny, man. It's really, really funny. Rob Dyrdek really seems like a super cool dude. Say what you will about him. Getting to see him just kind of like farting around is super cool. I'm gonna say this, and I might make somebody angry, but I'm gonna say Robin Big. Oh, well, that's not good. You never want it to just fall out like that. Although actually that's fine, because once there's an ESC connected to it, it's not gonna fall out like that. Robin Big is better than Fantasy Factory. What do you think of that?
Really?
Kristen's mulling it over in her head.
I think I like Fantasy Factory better than Robin Big.
Kristen disagrees. I'm just saying that right now to be controversial. I've not actually thought that through. All right. Cody Seals says Robin Big was much better. Not even just better, much better. Hold on. Frank says you guys can't see what I'm doing. It's damn near impossible for me to show you guys what I'm doing when it's zoomed in like that, unless I'm just doing soldering. So I got to zoom it out so you guys can see me screwing 3mm spacers into M2 by 22 screws. Brian Ladmiral takes the diplomatic approach and says both are good. Remy Tim, what do you think? Remy Tim says agreed. Are you agreeing with me or are you agreeing with Kristen? This is important. It's important consumer information. They are both really good. Fantasy Factory is hysterical. But like, I don't know, there's just something about, well, it's Big Black. The reason why I like Robin Big so much is because Big Black. He was involved in Fantasy Factory, but nowhere near as much. And yeah, I find that guy to be absolutely hysterical. So this is the front, this is the back. Now I need to decide, am I going to run the power leads out the front? Sometimes on micros I'll run the power leads out the front to keep them away from the VTX. But it's not always as easy as just doing that. Well, let's just do this. Let's just see how this is going to react. Yeah, I'm starting to push these goddamn things through. Again, I don't think this is... These spacers are small enough to fit through the holes in the carbon, which I feel like once this thing is built won't be an issue, but I try not like that. I try not to live life in that way of like, just keep going, it'll be fine. I'm actually gonna bail on these spacers because, yeah, this is not what I want. I'm gonna use those 2mm spacers, and I'm gonna put a 1mm washer below them, and that 1mm washer is what's gonna keep what's happening right now from happening. I could certainly do that with these spacers, but it would then make them too tall, needlessly tall. And I'm also kind of thinking about bailing on these 22mm long screws in favor of the 25s, mainly because of the fact that I'm going to have to put 28mm standoffs on this anyway. And the HD board gets really hot. Chris Potatoes is just typing the word Q over and over again. What's that mean? Is that something I should know about? Now he wrote 17. And now he got timed out by Squints. Adam, no, don't do that. Chris Potatoes is one of our normals, and he wasn't like talking smack. Chris Potatoes, I'm sorry. I didn't tell him to do that. Probably a cat on the keyboard. Chris Potatoes' cat just got timed out for 300 seconds. Adam, you don't need to, like, all of you moderators, you guys, you don't really need to. I don't expect you guys to moderate, like, ever, unless somebody's... What I would like from the moderators is that if somebody is ever, like, fucking personally attacking me, or just, like, you guys know how fragile I am, and, yeah, so if somebody is, like, straight up attacking me or, like, saying that my edit's below or something like that, I would love for you guys to moderate that so that I don't see it. But other than that, you guys don't have to do anything. Don't ever feel like you need to do anything. I mainly make you guys moderators so that your names will show up in blue, so that if you forget to tag me, I can still see what you're up to. I basically just make people that I consider, you know, more friends than fans, I guess. Not that I don't love all of you guys that aren't moderators, but yeah. Poor Chris Taters. His taters are... He came back as Big Taters. I love it. Crispy Big Taters. Cheers, man. Cheers for that. Thank you for... That's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
It's 12 o'clock.
He showed you, Squints. Fucking time me out, will ya? Time me out for my cat coming on the keyboard. Adam, don't time out Don't time Big Taters out. Although I think he has a third one. So even if you do time Big Taters out, I think he'll still be able to come back. You guys are great. That's too fucking funny. Okay, here we go. We got some 1mm spacers. What color am I making this rig? This is like a purplish rig, so let's go with these 2mm red spacers. And man, I feel like I gotta go. I feel like I gotta stream extra long because we didn't get anything done here, and it is in the title. So I'm gonna go as long as I can here. Oh, it was his cat. Big Tater says, yeah, I tried to text something and the cat laid down. Oh, that's fucking great. That is so great. Who called that? Somebody called that. That's too perfect. Okay, 1mm spacer with a 2mm. I'm sorry, 1mm washer with a 2mm metal fancy spacer. I don't know where I got these from. Maybe Newbie Drone. Maybe. These being these excellent little M2 by 2 knurled spacers. Okay, Logitech, be a scumbag. Thanks. Jerk. Dauntless H says, of course it's a purple rig. All your rigs are blue, red, or purple. Yep. I didn't call it. I read somebody's comment. Squints. BeepTube called it. That's who it was. BeepTube called it. That's so fucking great. Fitzflight says, I'll put $20 down to Ciotti for a Prusa Mini. Fitzflights, don't do that. I don't have room for or time or interest in 3D printing. But if that $20 is burning a hole in your pocket, you could throw it towards like Patreon or Etsy or Fiverr. Go over to Fiverr with that. Let me work for that $20, man. I've got another session coming up with this Wednesday at noon with CMYK FPV. Looking forward to that. We're doing a sim instruction session. He had a blast last Wednesday, and I swear to God, by the end of the 30-minute session, that he was flying better. Maybe that's just me being a dirty shill, but I swear to God, he was doing stuff at the end that he wasn't doing at the beginning. Yeah, man. I love the donations, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love the donations. But I also want to work for you guys. I really do. I want to provide as much value and have as many different sort of irons in the fire as I possibly can, so that if the YouTube thing disappears, I won't be totally assed out. If I can have, $50 a month or $100 a month coming in from 10 different sources, that's going to be awesome. And I believe in Fiverr. Kristen built her business on Fiverr over the course of the last 3-ish years. And she's so successful now that she doesn't need it anymore, which is pretty amazing. I'm constantly in awe of that. And it's a good platform with a lot of cool people. I think Fiverr gets a really bad rap because there's a lot of people on there offering us like ridiculously low prices for ridiculously shit quality work. But I mean, how's that different than anything? Right? Like not every single, but the majority of the components that we buy are built by companies that subscribe to that same approach. Build it shitty and cheap. Build it cheap. GM, one of GM's main, GM being General Motors, one of their main like internal mantras is make it cheaper, not make it better, not make it less expensive, not make it, you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like they chose the word cheaper very carefully. You know what I mean? And yeah, it drives me crazy when people talk shit, like, and I know a lot of creatives have this same sort of feeling, is that it really sucks when people like trash on Fiverr, because there are some incredible people on there doing incredible quality work, but yeah, they don't get the headlines. The people offering video editing for $5 are the ones that get the headlines. And then go figure. What the hell did you expect, right? Like, if you paid $5 for video editing, what the fuck did you expect? Like, are you really, like, come on. You don't play dumb with me. You're not that dumb, right? You're not that dumb that you thought $5 was going to get you a half decent product. Like, that's just, like, if you really thought that, then I'm sorry, but that's rough. It's rough that you thought that.
There's so many people that come to me and they said, "Oh yeah, I spent $10 on a logo on Fiverr and it was terrible. Can you fix it?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, you spent $10 on a logo on Fiverr. There is expectations there, you know, like."
I hope you guys could hear that. I turned the gain up as high as it would go. License to Drive says that's why they're called General Motors, not Specific Motors. NW Thrill says you edit videos on Fiverr. I do. That's one of the things that I offer, is either I edit your videos or I can spend time with you one-on-one showing you how I edit and like kind of guiding you through what I suggest. Brian Ladmross says, isn't not getting much done the norm? Yeah, very much so. Dauntless H says, I assume that since you aren't a fan of under-motoring rigs, you aren't a fan of the Rotorai HD1 XR with Vanover 5-inch motors on a 7. Yeah, not at all, Dauntless. I'm just not a fan of long-range rigs. That's or flying long-range, and that's what that rig is, right? The rigs with the little tiny motors and the gigantic propellers. Those are rigs that are very, very, very specifically built to sacrifice everything for runtime. There's no free lunches. You have to pick where you make your sacrifices. And yeah, I'm just, oh boy, that's gone forever. I'm just not, it's just not my thing, and that's fine. It's allowed to not be my cup of joe. So, how much spacer do we need? Is the question in between the ESC and the flight controller. So yeah, there is for sure going to be a part 3 of this, and there's just no way I'm going to get this done. I didn't realize I didn't do any of this, to be honest with you guys. I thought that I already had this spec'd out and ready to get dropped in, and I just needed to do the soldering tonight. I was wrong, as I typically am. Okay. Wow. Oh my god. That's all I need? Holy cow. So this is not a Talon F7 then. This is a Talon F4. Yeah. This is a one of the reasons why the Talon F4 is down below in the description, and I think I typed it in there, is that it's really good for tight builds. This is what I mean by that. I've got this ESC. I do have rubber grommets on the ESC, so they are adding like a 0.5 millimeter of height. But then I'm only using a 1 millimeter plastic spacer here, and then the flight controller has its rubber grommets, and that shit fits. Like there's clearance in between that ESC and that flight controller with just a 1 millimeter spacer. That's a pretty big deal. The reason is on this Talon F4, one side of the board, this bottom, doesn't have to be the bottom, but this side of the board is very flat. This is something that this is one of the ways that I choose flight controllers, is I really like it when one side of the flight controller is nice and flat. And to compare that, here's the other side. Look at all the height on the other side. You've got this big, tall plug header. You've got this big, tall USB port. You've even got this big, tall, maybe BE. I guess this is the BEC here. And it makes a difference with micros. You really have to take that shit into consideration. The Talon F7, it would basically require an additional millimeter of spacing here. Which, is shitty when you're trying to do a super tight micro build. Okay, so that's really good. That's going to really let me move that's going to allow me to run the HD board nice and high. Which is good because it needs as much cooling as it can get. But the potential problem is if I have to run wires in between the ESC and the flight controller, it's going to make it a little bit tight. So I have these M2x25s that I'm using for the stack bolts. They are long enough. Like, this is not a build that I need to... Because of the fact that this is a RunCam hybrid, I'm going to have to run 28mm standoffs, as we've discussed, and because of that, this is not going to be a super tight build. So I don't need to go crazy slamming this flight controller down as close as I can to the ESC. So because of that, I'm actually going to put 2mm spacers on here. And I'm going to do that with plastic nuts. The most of the M2 plastic nuts are 2mm thick. They do make, you can find 1mm plastic nuts. I know it's out of focus, but just trust me, it's 1mm tall. There's the 2mm tall. You could probably almost tell the difference. So yeah, let's do that. We're gonna go there. We're gonna go. Hey. That's a 1mm. Okay, here we go. And oh, what are these little guys? I have little rubber. Oh, now that's interesting. I wish I had 4 more of the little red M2x2 jib jabs, but I don't. I'm just gonna, yeah, that's fine. I'm just gonna use nuts. Get off of there. Oh man, I have a bunch of these nuts that I've put, that I've like glued to the tops of the stack mount things. So they've got like a residue of welders on them, and it's really annoying to get off. And a lot of times when I'm getting it, I have to get it off with these pointy ass tweezers. And a lot of times when I'm trying to get it off, I'll stab myself with the pointy tweezers. And I just don't feel like dealing with that right now. So I'm gonna forego those and just use these plastic nuts. That's what she said. What are you watching out there, honey? Weeds? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kristen's been on a weeds kick. She's trying to live her life in the with the.
I want to be Nancy Botwin.
She wants to be Nancy Botwin. I failed at more eloquently explaining that.
She's so good at her job. Good boss.
All right. You guys will maybe notice already that I am building this from the center out. I'm gonna do the motors dead last. That's kind of been my thing lately. I think that it's a less satisfying way to build. Like, I always want to do the motors first, but then the motors are in the way, which annoys me. So yeah, I'm doing this center out thing because I've been watching Silicon Valley. No, that's not why. It's because I think it's a better idea. As long as you can have the willpower to do it. Oh my God, what? Why? Okay, there we go. So with the ESC, you're not like the rubber grommets on the ESC are really only there to absorb a little bit of the shock of hard crashes. So you don't have to go. There's no rhyme or reason to like how much you tighten them. I would recommend that you not tighten them really hard though, because if you tighten them really hard, you're reducing the amount of travel that the rubber's got. So you're kind of, yeah, you're like, what's the point at that juncture? I said juncture. I don't know if I've ever said that word out loud before. Holy shit, the chat blew up. Metal Dirtskin says, did Bill throw in one of those sets of assorted size TPU spacers? Those have been unexpectedly handy. He didn't, Metal Dirtskin. What, I don't know what that is. I don't know what you're talking about. He knows who I am, though, which is, I'm assuming why he didn't throw it in. I didn't know that he knew who I was. He sent me look at this. He sent me a really nice little note in with the baggage. This was super cool. This made me feel really good. I recently learned that Bill is a fellow mental health sufferer. So be nice. Don't be a dick. If like BQE doesn't ship your stuff for a couple days or something like that, be cool. You guys will know from the giveaways that, yeah, I don't know. Mental illness is rough, man. It makes it makes doing seemingly simple tasks just like impossible. Like inside your head, your brain is fully convinced that you just like whatever it is, there's just no way. You just can't do it. It's so frustrating. So fucking frustrating. But like in those moments, it's not like there's not even a conversation that goes on inside your head. It's just like, nope, that's impossible. I can't do that right now. I'll die. And it's crazy. And when you look back on it, you feel extra broken. But there's unfortunately for those of us that deal with it, there's no escape. So we do our best. And hopefully our best is good enough. So there we go. There are the 2mm spacers. Then we're going to drop this down, and we are going to use brass collars. These grommets are for M3, which is why this moves around so much right now. You would not want to fly it like this. But, yeah. We'll get to that. Nukem720 says, how's the tiny pusher coming along? Are you using it? Or offered Nick to buy it yet? I always tell Nick, hey, let me buy these from you, and then he just mails them to me. How's the Insta360 go? The tiny pusher is good. I spent some time with it last week. Where the hell is it? Apparently I've lost it. Oh no, it's still in my bag. Yeah, I really want to fly it again. I switched the motors. So the full speed tiny pusher comes with these 1103 8000 kV motors, and they're not enough. Once you, without the Insta360 Go, they're fine, but with the Insta360 Go, this thing really struggles on 3S in my opinion. So I've put the newbie drone Flow 1202. Where the hell is it? There it is. 11,420. Well done, newbie drone. Well done. I didn't notice that until just now. 11,420 kV motors, and they're 1202s. I'm hoping that these motors are going to be a little bit better. If they're not, I'm going to have to go up to a 1203, which is fine, or maybe an 1104. I don't quite know yet what the right stator width is for these 1.5, I think they are, or whatever the hell that. All the this is a 75. You know, there's 65 tiny whoops, there's 75 tiny whoops. This is a 75, whatever the hell that actual prop size is. Oh wait, it says it on the goddamn propellers. You dumb man, you. Well, I can't read it, but yeah, I don't know quite yet, but this should shed some light on the subject. Other than that, it's been totally fine. Yeah, it flies better than I kind of thought. I just need to, I need to get the horsepower situation under control. And the Insta360 Go is great when it works. The last time I went out with it, I forgot that you have to leave the damn thing on the little charging box. The little this thing. You have to leave it in here. If you take the Insta360 Go out like that and leave it on the table for 2 days, it goes dead. You have to leave it hooked up to this thing. And I forgot. I knew that, but I forgot. And it was dead when I got out to fly it. So I put it in the rigs anyway, just to get the weight there. But, yeah, to no avail. So then, I think... Well, so now's where I gotta make a decision. Do I run this board upside down? If I run this DVR, HD, whatever the hell you want to call it, board upside down, what I like is that the memory card slot is up like this, and the buttons are also up, which I believe that I prefer that. Just to get the you know, you're going to be pushing the card in and out, you're going to be pushing these buttons, and just getting them moved away from anything else is a good thing. The problem is the processor or the heat sink or whatever the hell's going on. The spot on this board that gets the hottest is here. Is this little square, little silver square. So if I point that downwards, it's going to be closer to the flight controller, and it's going to have less airflow. Alternatively, on the top is going to be a battery strap, but the battery strap is going to be a couple millimeters up, so it's not that big a deal. So if I mount it upwards like this, the other thing that you want to think about is where the camera is going to be. Is the camera cable going to be long enough? I think this is usually long. Yeah, see, this is plenty long. So I could just do something like that. And I kind of like that because it keeps the... When the cable exits in the front, you got to like wind the cable up and shit, and it's really annoying. I think this might be... the way. Let's might be it. Your other option, of course, is to put this this HD board all the way on the bottom. Nothing wrong with doing that. I haven't really figured out if I like it better on the top versus the bottom. I've been putting it on the top because I've been waiting for these to start breaking. My previous experience with these HD PCBs connected to split cameras is that these break. So I put it on the top initially for, like, you know, serviceability. But I haven't broken one yet. So I don't know, maybe I'll start putting it on the bottom at some point. But for this rig, it's gonna go on top. And I think I don't know how I want to mount this. If it's like that, I'm still going to be fine. And the buttons are going to be up, but that heat sink is going to be down. I haven't really had any issues with these overheating. I'm just kind of trying to think ahead, you know? Oh, farts. My ESC doesn't have the, doesn't have a goddamn, how am I just noticing this now? Doesn't have a XT30 on it. Balls. KVFPV says, what do you think of the Cinerat? The Cinerat confuses me, KV. The way that the prop guards are, like, I feel like it's super easy to get, like, your fingers up in the propellers and get all fucked up. So it's kind of like, at that point, I wouldn't feel comfortable flying the Cinerat around people. And at which point it's like, well, then what the hell are you going to use it for? And I think the answer is like home tours. So like if you're doing house tours, oh, that's annoying. The video cable just broke off. I had a feeling that was going to happen. Yeah, so if you're just flying in places where there's expensive stuff and you're worried about bumping into them, but there's no human beings, then I think the Cinerat makes a lot of sense. For me, I would rather just build a regular Cinewoop that can do that, but it can also be flown around people without worrying about chopping their fingers up and having them bleed to death. I'm actually going to call it there on that build because it's 12:30 already and I'm just not going to get much more done. Hold on, let me move the microphone. I'm going to get caught up on chat and then we're going to have to do a part 3. Actually, what I'm actually going to do is take Rip Squeak out of the title of this video.
I have a meeting tomorrow.
Because...
Want to stream again?
weren't we going to see my parents? Weren't they coming down? Wednesday. Hey! Whoop Wednesday might be at a weird time this week because my parents are in town for I haven't seen my parents all year. And they're in town with their RV and they're coming to hang out on Wednesday. So if I can get my piece of shit ass out of bed, I'll do Whoop Wednesday early. Think like 11 Eastern, 12 Eastern, noon. Otherwise, there won't be a Whoop Wednesday this week. Sorry. I'm trying. I'm failing, but all I can do is try. Dauntless H says, making crepes now. Oh my god. Big Tater says, has anybody tried to play dartboard with micros yet? What does that even mean? Nemesis FPV says, what season of Weeds? The season where Nancy gets pregnant with the drug kingpin's kid. Oh, fuck, what season is that? Is that season 3? I think that's season 3. Yeah, maybe I'll do a stream tomorrow where we actually build this rig. But right now, I'm gonna change the name of this stream to Monday Q&A. I mean, that's all we really did. Tiny bit of work on BQE rip Squeak. That's the worst. I'm the worst. B-Man says, where's Clam Man these days? Clam Man's here. Clam Man just terrifies me, though. I on one hand, I've played Clam Man 7,000 times. So in theory, if whoever owns Clam Man was going to copyright strike me, they would have already done it. So in theory, I can just keep railing away on Clam Man. But that's, I mean, here, this is what you get. This is the new Clam Man. That's it. That's all I have the guts to play. Sorry. Go to YouTube and type in Clam Man. It'll come up. Yeah, I'm not playing that game anymore. I can't. YouTube just makes it way too easy to copyright strike somebody and shut down their channel for 3 months. Dauntless H says, as my parents said, if you're going to be a hungry teenager that eats things at 1 a.m., be a teenager that can cook things. Your parents are smart, Dauntless. Yeah, in my experience, ADHD is less suicidal because the reason I don't get things done is because I have no impulse control and sometimes mental motivation to do work over play. Shout out to FPV Therapy over on Facebook. I'm gonna shut this shit down. Although I'm gonna check out Nevin's comment that he just left right above B-Man's that he just left. Yeah, FPV Space Therapy over on Facebook. Come join us. Matter of fact, Facebook does a really bad job at telling me when people request to join. So I'm going to leave it open in a tab. And I swear to God, if somebody doesn't join, I'm shutting it down. I don't know. Last couple of comments of the night. Zanakis says, copyright... oh, yeah. Go... if you want the full story of the copyright bullshit, go like 3 weeks back, and I explained it a couple times. I also explained it over on Instagram, CiottiFPV on Instagram. Hey, I just put the no link Family Guyver. Just go to Facebook and just go into the little search field and search for FPV Space Therapy, and you'll find it. Look how bad I put the edit from Flying Steel's house up on Instagram, and look how bad they butchered the quality. Well, is there really no way to make this bigger? Oh, there we go. Look how bad it looks. Like, we bitch and moan about YouTube's compression all the time. Oh, Instagram. Jesus Christ on a cracker. Get your shit together, man. This is ridiculous. It's so bad that you like on a phone it just looks like mud. I mean, it's not that much better on YouTube, but at least you can see some things. Man, I almost pulled the video down. I thought that oh, for fuck's sake. I had to cue my ass. Come on with the cue bullshit. Get it. Nobody wants to add anything to their queue. Turn this shit off, YouTube. Nobody uses queue. Fuck you. Clear. Jesus. Yeah, look at the difference. I mean, it was a session 4. Oh my God, why? Well, There it is. We're getting thrown in jail. Okay, great. This is okay. This is going very well. Yeah, I mean, look at the difference. You guys might not be able to see a difference, but Jesus, come on, man. You guys might not be able to see a difference because the maximum output that my computer can handle on the stream is 720. But yeah, like this is actually watchable. What Instagram did is not really all that watchable. Okay. Goodbye. B-Man says, like you said, you've already played it 7,000 times. They're going to think there's no reason to stop now. It's true. EE Doc says, gotta watch out to not get the strike from that CiottiFPV guy. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging. Sorry this was a low energy Sado stream, but I don't have a choice. It's I try, man. Thanks for bearing with me. Maybe I'll see you guys tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow is the day. Tuesdays are rough. I'm usually really exhausted from this stream on Tuesdays, but be all right. Thanks, guys. Be good. Click things if you'd like. Doesn't cost anything, and YouTube says it helps, so click them. What do I got? I got nothing for you. Do I got any flying for you guys? Nothing that you haven't seen. Ooh, that's a lie. You guys haven't seen this. Oh, this is a good one. This was like the first weekend of lockdown. I'm gonna leave you guys with this. And I'll see you maybe tomorrow, maybe Wednesday. One of these days. Be good! Thanks for hanging, guys. Jesus, what? Why? Clicking all the wrong...